Welcome, everybody. It's been a 2-week hiatus, but we are back, and it's going to be a great show tonight. We've got our usual partners in crime. We got Chuck Wilson, Dave Jones, Gary the Tech Guy, and then for a treat tonight, we got a couple mortgage brokers on here. We got Brian Bubba Miles out of Chesapeake, Virginia. He's been with OVM Financial for about 10 years now. How you doing tonight, Bubba?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. And we've also got Katie and Gary May. They're out of Mechanicsville, Pennsylvania. Katie works at Redfin Mortgage. She's been there for 2 years. She's been at 10 years in the field. And Gary's Embrace Home Loans. He's been in the field for 17 years, and he's been over there for 11. Real quick, I just want to welcome everybody back to the show. It's been a couple 2 weeks. I understand that Dave had he paid somebody to write a couple jokes for him. He bombed during the pre-show, so let's see if he's got some better material for the show tonight. Dave, kick us off real quick. Dave, give us one of those jokes they wrote.
You're killing me tonight.
Crickets tonight.
I want to welcome Katie and Gary, and I want to say hi to Chuck. I missed you, Chuck. I miss Chuck. I miss Gary the Tech Guy, and I miss Jeb just a little bit. Okay. Bubba, tell us where you're from. Tell us what you do.
Born and raised here in Chesapeake, Virginia. Graduated from Great Bridge High School in 1996. Did a little stint at TCC, local community college, 1 semester, 3 classes, and I knew school wasn't my thing and got out and pursued a career in the mortgage business, and here now, still going strong and enjoying every day of it.
Bubba, so when you say you pursued that, how did you go about getting into that?
So my father had been in the business here locally since 72 and was partners with an independent mortgage company. And I just went to him after the TCC and tired of going to school. And while I was in school, I was working for 2 local companies here. One is a landscape company and one is moving furniture for a furniture company. And I knew that I didn't want to pursue any career in either one of those fields. So I finally broke down, went to my pops and said, instead of wasting any more time and money of yours, will you bring me on and let me learn the mortgage business?
Okay, so you had him to help you along. What about school? I know y'all got to take a test and stuff. So what all was involved in getting your actual license for the mortgage broker?
Yeah, so at that time when we first came in, the licensing didn't come in until I don't even remember how many years ago it's been, but maybe 8 or 10 years ago. Leading up to that, as an independent guy or if you were bank affiliated, you didn't have to have an actual license. When the laws changed and you weren't affiliated with a bank, you had to go out and get an individual license to be a loan originator. And that requires, I don't even know what the class is, maybe a 60 or 20 hours, and you got to pass 2 exams to become licensed, and then kind of from there, it's on the job training.
Okay.
Now, Bubba, do you own your own organization, or are you working in one? Or I mean, what's the deal?
No, we're an independent company. There's 5 individual owners of OVM Financial. Believe it or not, my father is still working. He's going about 3 days a week, and he is the COO here. So OVM Financial, we're an independent company. We're privately owned and out here doing our own thing. We lend our own money and then we sell off closed loans to the secondary market.
What's OVM stand for? What's that mean?
We originally started as Old Virginia Mortgage.
Okay.
Where we were only licensed in the state of Virginia, and from then when the growth started, whenever those guys brought me on to Old Virginia Mortgage at the time, there was like 11 employees. And we started at 11, and now we're up to 165, 175 employees. And when we brought on other states of origination, we just took that the OVM and made it into OVM Financial.
Yeah, nothing like a name to limit you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, how about that? So you have 175 people in your organization?
Yes, sir. Staff and salespeople. We have branches here locally in Virginia Beach, Newport News. There's one in Roanoke. There's one in Florida, and down in the Cary, North Carolina, Pinehurst area, where we have branches. But between the staff and sales folks, it's about 175 employees.
That's a nice.
Okay, so how about Jeb? How about we slip over here? I got a bunch of questions for all these guys, but
yeah, let's get Katie and Gary in here. Let's find out their story real quick. Yeah, absolutely. Gary, let's start with you. You've been awful quiet tonight. Tell us how you got into the mortgage game, and I know you went to college, so tell us about that and how you got into the game, and a little bit more about where you were.
All right, so the real story, graduated with a degree in 2001, went to work for a financial planning company because that's what my degree is in. So I did a lot of cold calling, selling finances to people, life insurance, when you're 22 years old out of college, really, really hard to do. So I fell back on my finance degree and went to work for a mortgage company in their operation. So I was doing financial analytics and accruals and things like that. And to be honest with you, in like 2002, I saw this line item on the profitability sheet, and it was called commission. So I went to my boss. I was getting paid a little salary, and I went to my boss and I said, "What's this commission line? I mean, it's a big number." And he told me, "Well, that's the commission we pay the loan officers." I'm like, "Well, what's a loan officer?" And so he kind of told me. I was like, "I want to do that." So I went and met with the branch manager, and they hired me on the spot. Back in 2003, it was pretty easy to write loans. So they gave me a cell phone, laptop, and said, "Go meet all these people, these bank branch people," and I started originating loans.
That's great.
So that's how I got in the biz.
All right, Katie, same question to you.
Yeah, so I have a degree in public relations and journalism, and out of college, I just wanted to get a job. So I started in insurance because that's what my dad did. And so he was like, you should do this. There's a lot of residual income. So I did that. I got licensed. About a year later, I ended up wanting to relocate to the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. And I got a referral for a job at a mortgage company for a loan officer assistant. I had no idea what that meant. I interviewed for the job. I got the job. That's how I started off in the business. And then I ended up just kind of working my way up. I had no really ambition to be a loan officer, but once I got in and just started learning, and it just started to be easy, and I liked it. And it's kind of an addicting business. So, I would make more money each year, and then really just opportunities started to come. Eventually became a loan officer about 6 years in. I got licensed after being in the business for 2 years. So I took a more untraditional route of not just jumping right into sales, but kind of learning the business, doing a bunch of different positions in the business, and then eventually becoming a loan officer and now a sales manager.
Katie, is that some kind of subliminal message on that blackboard behind you?
Is that where you run the business from back there?
Is this like the Beatles' White Album when you play it backwards or something? What's going on with that message?
Only. It's a child drawing and quotes.
Oh, so Gary put that up there.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Chuck, you look like you want to say something. Go ahead.
Yes, indeed. And Katie kind of touched on it, and Gary a little bit as well.
It's Deep Thoughts with Chuck Wilson.
They surprise me with that every week somehow. But anyway, you were touching upon other things that folks can do within your field and work your way up into the actual loan officer type position. And I mean, what you're doing now is not exactly for everybody. I mean, it is a lot of sales and so on, right? And so there are lots of other possibilities for people.
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of opportunities to really get in on like a ground level and work right now, especially interest rates low and, just there's so much opportunity. People really, there's opportunity for people to get in as in processing, underwriting, closing. There's so many different facets to the mortgage industry. And you can kind of work your way through. Most people do. They start in one place and end up in another, just depending on their personality and what kind of suits them.
Okay.
And what do you see, Gary, as far as other opportunities within your loan processing world?
Yeah, kind of like what Katie said, right? And I think it really comes down to the industry as a whole, right? So mortgage banking is not that tough, right? You have to have a great personality. You have to be very detail oriented. You've got to be outgoing, but you can learn the mortgage business, right? I mean, you don't need a degree. You don't have to have certifications. I mean, the mortgage business is about people. It's about doing the right thing. It's about communication. And if you can do all of those things, the rest of it, it's pretty easy to learn, whether you're a processor or a junior loan officer on a team or an assistant underwriter, whatever the case may be. You just have to have the right personality.
Gary, it seems to me a lot of it's about, in your business, I hear this all the time from people that are doing deals or whatever, or buying something, that there was a nightmare at the settlement table and this and that. It seems like in your business, process is very important. Like process, is that right? I mean, it just seems like you guys should have a recipe where you're checking boxes going through this thing, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely what it is, right? I mean, it's getting from point A to point B. It's for the most part the same steps. You just have to get really good at those steps. The challenge in the mortgage business is that it's ever changing. Appraisal value comes in low. What do you got to do? Regulations change. How are we going to communicate that to the realtors or the parties involved? Dodd-Frank happens in 2010 and the whole entire world is turned upside down. So being able to adjust on the fly when things like that change is what is about, being perseverant and going out there and doing your job.
Speaking of adjusting, Bubba, this whole COVID pandemic, I noticed you haven't adjusted very much. Y'all have been busier than ever, haven't you, with these low interest rates? Seems like it's definitely a seller's market still.
Yeah, it's been completely, excuse my language, but balls to the wall for us and all the local competition here. In our outfit, we may be different from others, but in our outfit, 90% of our business that we do is all new home purchase. Our firm, we don't solicit refinances. We do refinances to friends and immediate family, so to speak. But the refinance business kind of bogs down our system. We're a much smaller firm, obviously, than Embrace and in Redfin. So those guys locally, we wouldn't consider competition to us, which is a good thing. But and back to the personnel, yes, there is a lot of opportunity for personnel in this industry. But the problem everybody is having is taking the time to get them up and running so they're not bogging down the system any further than what it already is, because nobody has time to train anybody. So unless you have seasoning, you got years in the business. Right now is not a good time to get into business.
I see a question up here.
We had a question. So what advice would you give to somebody who wants to change career and begin in your field of work?
Great question.
Yeah, start with you, Gary.
Careers. So.
Hey, by the way, watch Fido in the back there. He's chewing on that couch back there. Must be behind you.
He's licking, that's what he does. We'll just block him out.
Go ahead, Gary.
Changing careers, want to get into this business, I would say that you have to get into an entry level. The hard part is that when you have a career, you have some sort of established, income criteria or whatever. So to get into this business right now, like the other guy was saying, is you have to go entry level, meaning you have to come in as an assistant or you have to come in as a junior loan officer and somebody who can go under the wing of a seasoned loan officer and learn the business slowly, because it is a challenge to try and sell mortgage products if you have zero mortgage background. You need to have some sort of somebody that's going to give you kind of the status quo of how to originate a loan and how to communicate that to the customer.
Why would somebody go to you instead of somebody else, and how do they get to you? Are they getting to you through the realtors? What's your lead funnel here?
For me, it's quite Katie. So I've been doing this for 17 years, and I'm kind of a database guy, right? So I have 1,500 people that I've helped over my career. So that's my source of.
That's your book, kind of.
Yeah. So I get referrals from past customers, and realtors I've done business with over the 10, 15 years. They just are kind of the general source. I'm not out trying to build new. I just work the book that I have.
I guess in your business, integrity means a lot. Like if somebody's stepping up to that table to buy something or to sell something, and I know you have the title insurance, you have all this stuff, but if somebody screws something up, somebody's got some liability there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's about control, making sure that when you get referred or a present customer comes back to you, they're going to get the same experience every single time.
It's like McDonald's, you same coffee every time you walk in there.
Right.
Hey, Bubba, what kind of people do you hire? I mean, what do you look for?
Yeah, where are you finding them right now? I mean, you just said that you really can't get green. People too green right now.
By the way, Bubba, if you told me you were like an NFL lineman, I'd believe you. I think mortgage. I'm not thinking anybody.
But that didn't work out for me.
Dave,
originally.
I lift weights with Bubba a couple times a week. He's a hoss.
You're going to sign this mortgage, or I'm going to notch your head.
I'll say this: our firm's unique. Like I say, independent. There's 5 guys that own our company. And for us, our goal for the last 10 years, ever since I've been here, was to do $1 billion in closed loans. Every year, that was a goal of ours. And this year, being the freak year of all years, we broke that mark in October with closed loans over $1 billion.
Was that refis and originals?
Say that again.
Would that be refis and originals both?
Yeah, but as I was saying before, our firm does 90% of purchase product. We don't solicit refinance. We don't call you. We don't ask for them. If they come along, we'll do them. But 90% of our firm's business is new purchase product. But Jeb, back to your question, we started a little, OVM school, so to speak. The people that are out there young, fresh out of college, looking to pursue a career. They're coming in. They're getting a little upfront money for a period of time. They're learning the training. They're getting the ins and outs of the industry. They're getting enough information to go and pass the test, or processing position, or maybe something in our marketing department, so to speak. So we're bringing these kids in. But I'll tell you this, in the mortgage business, unless you have relationships, you can guarantee on 4 or 5 people to send you business. Because as a salesperson in this business, we don't pay out any salary money. So it's 100% commission business. It's aggressive. It's extremely competitive. So, you got to have those things in mind. And somebody green coming in from a college aspect, training, this and that, some veterans that are out there in the business, they won't last. They won't last, and then they get frustrated, and then they leave. But if you can mentor them through, put them on a team, let them learn the business 2 or 3 years down the road, and let them establish their own core relationship, so to speak, whether it's personal referral, real estate agents, CPAs, real estate attorneys, whoever it may be, and allow them to get some success. then those are the people that you're looking for. But it is an extremely competitive business to be in.
Okay.
So how do you foster those relationships to build your business?
I don't think he can say that on the air.
I don't know if I want to answer that question.
I don't think he can say that on the air at all.
I'm going to ask Katie because she is a reasonable person.
Hey, Chuck, if you turn around and you look at the third shelf up, there's a book on fostering relationships.
Oh, I've read
behind
this
your
one.
head.
Yeah. Right there. Leather bound, by the way. Yes. So, Katie, how do you build those business relationships that bring you the business?
Well, again, for me too, I've always been mostly focused on purchase business. So it's building the relationships with the agent, getting a few deals from them, getting them to trust you, and then providing really good service. So, maybe, they're referring you because they know you're going to get the deal done. They know that you're going to set the proper expectations. They know that they're going to be the first person you call if there's an issue. So just doing a really good job at your job every day and providing good service to their clients so that they know when they refer you that the deal is going to get done.
And how did you get to know those agents to begin with?
Yeah, I was going to say, and even those agents, can't that be cutthroat as well? I mean, did they go somewhere else? Do you feel like you cheated on them? Do you want your CDs back? And how does that work?
Want your CDs back? Hey, they're all downloading music now.
Yeah, there's no CDs in there.
Come on,
Yeah,
Jeb.
but you can't make the.
Come on,
lumps.
Chad. Come on, man.
You're gonna make a missed disc. I mean,
Come
if you're gonna have
on,
a disc,
man.
it's got to be made, man.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Katie.
Go ahead,
Go ahead.
Katie. Answer the question for him, even though he answered.
I
It was
mean,
probably the stupidest question he's ever asked. Go ahead.
it's competitive, but you just have to find ways to set yourself apart. I mean, you just build the relationships. You join the local clubs. You build trust with them.
So you're doing BNI. You're doing the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh no BNI,
Rotary?
no BNI. Thank you,
I'm
Gary.
just
No
throwing
BNI,
names out there.
BNI is bogus.
Kiwanis,
no BNI.
Breakfast Club.
Those at home, no BNI.
No BNI.
Any way that you can build connections with the community, meet people, and that's
Katie, you know what you just said? It was the most important thing. Separating yourself from somebody else, right? So you got all these companies that sell mortgages, but Katie and Gary or Bubba have got to find a way to separate yourself from somebody else, right?
Yeah.
There'd be a reason for these customers to want to come to you. They could probably get the same rate down the road if they had, but they wouldn't get the service,
yeah.
right? But they wouldn't get the service.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
So yeah, I mean, through my career, I've broken it down into three things, right? So there's people that will never do business with you no matter what. So you don't want to work with those people. There's people that will do business with you no matter what. That's where my book of business comes from. They're going to do business with me because they know, like, and trust me. And then there's that group of people that maybe they'll do business with you, and that's the group that you're after, right? Because there's a bigger percentage of those group of people that if you do a good job and you communicate well, they'll know, like, and trust you, and they'll start referring you business.
There's a lot of bad people in our business that just don't even pick up the phone. I know that's the craziest thing, but like picking up the phone when someone calls goes a really long way. So if you can get someone to send you a few deals and you're picking up the phone, and like you're making a huge impression on them just by doing that.
Yeah, and you're dealing with something that people, I know even in our business, like Jeb and I are in the same business, the air conditioning business. People don't purchase commercial places or residential, whatever it is. They don't do this every day. We live in.
It's story time with Dave Jones.
Story time.
you give Pooch a milk bone back there. But what I was saying was, you live in this world, but how many times, what's a person buy? What's the average of 4 houses in their lifetime or something? 4 or 5 houses?
Yeah, about 4.
So this is a very stressful thing for them. Okay. They've saved all their money up. They're putting money down. They have to go through this process. They need a mortgage, and they're counting on you. Like, this is really like, you live in that world. For you, it's like getting up and breathing. Okay. But for them, it's the biggest day of their life, or one of the 4 biggest days of their life, right?
Yes.
That's correct.
That's kind of the way you look at it. Hey, Bubba,
Yes, sir.
what do you think are the things that make people come to your company versus somebody else?
Good old boy. That was good
I
old
think
boy.
I think it's independent. I think that the relationships that our sales guys have been able to establish and maintain in this area. There's a small group here. We got between Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, it's a who's who kind of game. You know what I mean? So the loyalty there is there, believe it or not. There was a time where loyalty didn't mean a damn thing in this industry. You do something good by somebody one week and something falls through the crack the next week, you'll never hear from that person you've been working with for the last 2 years, the moment you do the one thing wrong. And that's what frustrates me about the industry. So it's the loyalty, number one. And it's all about the relationship, and like Katie was saying, something as simple as picking up the phone when it rings. Nobody wants to come in. I've been doing this since 1998, and I still come in Saturdays at 11 o'clock if an agent wants to schedule an appointment. There's guys that have the tenure that I have. There's no way in hell they're going to come in Saturday at 11 a.m. to take a loan application for somebody that may end up having a 500 credit score. But you do that because that agent that asks you to come in is somebody that you've worked with, you can count on. You can count on her. She can count on you. So it's a mutual thing. This business is 100% about the relationships. Everybody's all about price, right here, right there. And we compare apples to apples. That's why we don't get lost in the refinance business, because I may send out a proposal for, whatever the scenario may be. And this guy's going to come back and say, well, I reached out to ABC or Rocket Mortgage, some shit online, and they offered me this. So you go back and forth. Next thing you know, you've tied up 2.5 days on a refinance that's not going to close. That's why we focus. Our main focus is maintaining our realtor and referral partners all the way through the process, because unlike a refinance, that contract is binded, and that thing's going to drive that closing to the table. At the end of the day, that thing's going to close. Yes, it's not to say it always closes on time, but at the end of the day, that purchase contract will close.
So you talked a lot about maintaining that relationship with your customers, and that extends over a period of time. So what are the skill sets that you could push out there to potential people that are interested in this career field, that, I guess, to word it right, what are the character skill sets, to be able to, because you've got to have good communication skills, you got to have those interpersonal skills, and you got to be able to have the skills to build up relationships. What are the things that I'll go to you first, Bubba, and then go over to Katie and Gary. What are the things that you've learned over the years that work best, and also things to avoid that you have found that you might have thought would have been a benefit but ended up being a negative?
Hey, Bubba, just to piggyback on that, that's a good point that Gary just brought up. Just to piggyback on that, I just want to go over real briefly the reason for our podcast, what we do here. The reason for our podcast, we offer careers to people that they don't necessarily need to go to college for or get a bachelor's degree. They can get certificates, 2-year degrees, whatever. And also for second careers, maybe retired policemen, retired firefighters, retired teachers, whatever. So to piggyback on that question, that's who our audience, our first and foremost audience is.
Gotcha. I would say, going back, these guys coming through school, looking to do the career, it's all about, and I keep going back to it. It's all about the relationship piece, the credibility, the picking up the phone, and it's simple things. It's entertaining. It's showing up to a birthday. You know, if you work with a client, it's sending a thank you. It's the simple things that people that are always in the hustle and bustle that they never do. You know, I mean, every single closing, every time we talk to somebody, there's always a thank you or a card that goes out. The follow up has to be through and through. But you know, as a young guy wanting to get into business, it is a grind. You know, you have to, if you're out of sight, you're out of mind. So if there is a, you know, if there is a community event, you need to go there. You need to be there. You need to set up a tent. You need to sponsor. You need to do whatever you can do to get your name out there. And you need to be social. You know, this business isn't hard. It isn't hard at all. You know, you got a little social skills. You wine and dine, you play golf, you fish, whatever. You find that particular thing that the person that you're prospecting likes to do, and you find a way to do it within yourself and establish that relationship. You know, the relationship's key. That's all I can say, really.
Yeah, finding a common denominator with the person that you're trying to find that relationship with, it sounds like is key.
Yep, absolutely.
Katie and Gary, what do you think about that?
I mean, I think that's definitely a big part of it as far as the relationship building. As far as like character traits and personality, I mean, I think being trustworthy and honest. I mean, it's a financial transaction. It's a lot of money. Being able to tell someone, you know, something that maybe they don't want to hear, but you have to have that conversation with them, goes a long way. And that's how a big part of building that relationship as well. Being reliable, being trustworthy, being responsible. Those are really key to being successful, because if you come in here and think you can just tell people what they want to hear and not, you know, educate them and really be there for them and nurture that relationship through the whole process, you're not going to get repeat business. You're not going to have a good reputation. I think that's kind of another part of the foundation of it.
So basically, the kid that comes out of school, doesn't want to go to college or just isn't feeling it, says, okay, maybe he has a neighbor that's in the mortgage business. He says, I want to go do this. Maybe go to night school or something. He better come in and not be like staring at his phone the whole time, right?
That's correct.
Right. He better be showing up on time, right?
To go back to the question that someone asked about like ways to get in, or someone that's like a second career, I think there are opportunities more in like bank situations or team situations where you can get in and they'll pay you a salary and you can learn the business and they have like training, you know, to
Would that be like a Wells Fargo mortgage or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Bank of America, even local banks. But then, you know, if you want to expand from there, you could join an independent, you know, mortgage company once you kind of have that base foundation and go 100% commission.
So in Pennsylvania, what do you have to do class-wise and test-wise to get your broker's license?
So it's across the country. You take a 20-hour course, the NMLS course, and then each state has different requirements in terms of continuing education and potentially other tests that they make you take. Pennsylvania, Maryland, DC, Virginia, most of the states like that we're licensed in, they have like a few hours every year that you have to take the continuing education above and beyond that first 20-hour test that you have to pass when you get your license.
Okay. So
How many hours a week do you guys work?
Real quick is Gary's a big personality.
Gary, how many hours a week do you work?
Right now,
Yeah.
80, 90.
Yeah, but look, you get up and you love it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get up and I have the ability to go help a lot of people.
Yeah, I have a feeling you don't work 1 hour a week because I think it's a passion for you.
Well, there's stress that comes with it, which can make it a challenge. But yes, I mean, I've been doing this a long time, so I'm not doing it this long because it's work, right? I mean, it's my career. It's what I love to do. So, but there's definitely stress that comes with it.
Chuck, you heard it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I heard the allusion or use of the P word, passion.
Well, Dave,
Word.
yeah, but Dave said it.
Yeah, well, and that is what we're trying to connect people to, is what they might have passion for. so that they're not feeling like they're in a dead end job, but in something that is lucrative. And I know that you folks are doing just fine in this business, but it takes a lot of work to get to that. And I know that you all answer the phone and take great care of your customers. In fact, we got a comment from one of Katie's customers here. It says, Katie handled my loan and she was everything she is talking about. She was very responsive, knowledgeable about the process, and always put the customer first. Good job, Katie.
Thank you.
And,
Wow,
and
Katie, good job.
You had to shave you had to shave half a point on her next loan.
yeah, that's what I'm looking for. But a few questions from Arno. Do you have any experience with difficult loans, people, situations? And if so, how did you handle it? Ever have any difficult situations?
I have been working out with Bubba when he's had some of these. Go ahead, Bubba. Start with. We'll let you start. I've been around. I've been in the room.
Hey, Bubba. Jeff keeps saying he's working out. It's cracking me up. How come you look so big and strong? And
The difficulty, the difficulty is not so much on the front end. Obviously, it brings smiles and joy to everybody when you take that client who isn't actually there, credit qualified, and you work with them, you mentor their credit, and you do a good job, and they're a first-time home buyer, and you get them in a house between yourself, them, their family, and everybody involved in the situation. I mean, there's not a better day than to see the gratitude on those people's face once they go to the closing table. I think the difficulty is the difficulty that Jeb has experienced with me is the kickback from staff. When you have files in and you're working, 16, 18, 20 files, and they all have, there's never been a perfect file in 25 years. And I don't think anybody in the room can say that. There's always some hair on every loan that we've had. The trying times is fighting with the staff and circumventing a condition, an underwriting condition or a processing condition that the client may not be able to obtain. And it's just difficult to, even something as simple as this. We may ask a client for a bank statement, and they go to the ATM and print out an ATM slip, and they take a picture of it, and they think that that's going to meet the condition. And then, you round that guy down, you make 2 or 3 calls, you may send an email telling them that it's not going to work. And it's, next thing you know, you've been 2 hours when you simply ask for what you asked for, and then they send you something. It's just frustrating. So those are, I think the difficulty is from the back. Once you've secured the loan and you have a contract, you've worked through all that upfront difficulty. It's the difficulty in the back that could cause delays in the closing are the ones that's most frustrating to me.
I've got a question. What can somebody? I have no idea. Like, can somebody that goes to work for your company, Bubba, or you guys, Katie and Gary, what are they going to, like, somebody comes out, has 3 years in this, they're going to make 50, 60, 70 grand a year. What are they going to make? I know it's commission.
Give us an entry versus someone that's got their license and now
it's a 2-year versus a 5-year versus a 10.
Yeah, they got, and this is just speculate. I mean, this isn't, we're not hammered down, just a ballpark. Just for
I think you take an entry level guy who's got, give him 3 years of experience. Shit, man, he's got a couple relationships. He can make 75, 80 grand. You take a guy that's got 15, 10, 15, or let's say 15 years. The sky's the limit, man. You can do, I mean, shit, there's guys making, $250,000 up to $1 million in this business.
Well, this is a good segue for this question here. Is for
we have a question here.
Business with no experience.
Yeah.
How long does it typically take to move through the ranks to a senior position? I know there's a lot of nuance to that question.
Let's say somebody that's doing the deal, though. Let's say somebody that's hard at it. Bubs, you're on.
What is she? What is
How
She's asking how long is it self? Listen, is it one of those careers that you could move through as fast as you want, or is it one of those careers? Is that what it is, Gary? Go ahead.
That's exactly what it is. This is the career that when you get into it, if you have what it takes, which is a great personality, the ability to go meet people, and you're not a salesperson.
Follow through.
You work hard. You can go from 0 to 100 really fast, right? I mean, there's going to be bumps, there's going to be bruises. It's going to take hard work, but you don't make a lot of cash without hard work, no matter what you do, right? So, but for entry level, you could make 50 out the gate just being a junior loan officer or an assistant to a high level producer. But then after a couple of years and you get some experience and like Bubba said, you get a couple of relationships and you start getting referrals, you can get to 100 very quick.
And it's all self-paced.
Yes.
Like you come out of the gate. I mean, it's not one of those jobs that you have to like, okay, I'm going to make tenure in 10 years and this and that. And this and you do whatever. It's sort of like, it's probably one of those jobs, like it seems to me, like real estate, where 10% of the good people do 90% of the mortgages in the area. Okay. Something like that. Right.
Yeah, that's totally the case. I mean, like, you know, we could easily be able to tell having a 10-minute conversation with someone who, you know, like the lady that may have asked that question, you know, just to sit down 10-minute conversation, we can fast track her and give her a realistic timeline as to what, you know, as to what she can expect out of this industry. You know, it's definitely not for everybody. You know, you can come in and get your feet wet and experience with it, but you know, to live it out and do it for 15, 20 plus years, you got to be a unique person.
Yes.
There's a lot of flexibility. The cool thing about being in this business, if you're in the sales part, is I mean, you kind of work 24/7 because you got to answer your phone, but you can kind of be wherever you want to be. You're
available. You're available.
Yeah, you're available. You're there to answer calls and be there and do pre-approvals and guide and educate. But you know, you could be in Mexico or anywhere and kind of do your job. So
it's sort of similar to the way Jeb does his job. Then
it's the guy in Florida.
Yeah, so you could.
Katie, and I'm going to make a joke here, but other than you, Gary, and myself, these other 4 guys go to Mexico. They're not going to answer their phone.
Now you're talking about me.
I mean, let's be honest.
I'll answer mine.
I'm always on my phone.
Do you guys? Well, you guys don't know each other, right? You're not even near each other. You're in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
What's that near Harrisburg?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you guys don't even know it. You have a lot of common. You probably know somebody that knows somebody.
How big of an area do you cover, and how long does it take to travel that in horse and buggy?
Well, you had to go horse and buggy, didn't you?
Is that an honest question?
That's the area was. I mean, what's your spread?
Yeah, I mean, so for me as a licensed LO, I mean, I'm licensed in 6 states, right? So I don't travel around. I mean, I do everything via email, video, text message, and phone call.
So are you like DocuSign?
Everything's electronic.
Is Embrace a franchise then or something?
No, it's a privately held mortgage company.
So you guys work for Embrace?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're
I'm just a loan officer, sales manager.
You're a sales manager for Embrace. Okay, gotcha.
Bubs, are you doing it? Sorry, Bubs, are you doing everything
Jeff.
through DocuSign too? I was just curious about the DocuSign. Are you doing everything,
it's all electronic. You know, we have some clients that are feel for of the their accounts getting compensated or whatever the case may be, but 98% of it, everybody signs electronic.
So everybody at home, I just wanted to mention that everyone's doing everything through DocuSign. I'm only plugging that because I just bought a bunch of stock during COVID. Okay, continue.
A full disclosure. Full disclosure there.
Well, and I had
You say
mentioned that
DocuSign one more time, I'm gonna mute you. You had me at DocuSign. Go ahead.
I invested
mentioned
a
on
bunch
the,
of money in this elite services company, and I lost my shirt on it.
Hey, we're sorry about that, Gary. Anyway, next caller, please.
yeah.
Gary, I actually have your shirt here, Gary. You left it. Kind of weird. You left with no shirt on.
I had mentioned during or in my intro to the sharing on Facebook of the tonight's episode preview that it's a job that you can do from home, which has been, or from anywhere, basically. But what sort of changes have you folks seen in the industry? Bubba, you go back a long way. Gary, you go back a good bit. Katie, not quite so long, but I mean, things are evolving. And where do you see it heading? I mean, what is it going to be like in 5 years from now? Start with you, Bubba.
Yeah, I mean, I was always a handshake guy, face to face. Come in the office, spend a lot of time with the clients that we had, the clients and their referral partners. And now, since the COVID, this year has just been crazy. Even at our office, where I go to work every day, we come through. You get stopped, you get your temperature checked, the whole 9 yards. It's just it's extremely wicked times right now, and everything electronic. I think it's going to be that way. I think it's going to be that way really forever. It's so easy, and for us as the salespeople, as long as you got a little internet connection, I mean, you can do your job. Internet connection on a cell phone is all you need. You're 100% mobile. You can work it anywhere: coffee shop, restaurants, your office, automobile, whatever it takes. So I think that's always been the case. I think the times of the mortgage banker coming into the guy, the suit and tie, dressed up, making an appointment, coming in, signing paperwork, going through it. I think those days are out the window.
So for the personal aspect y'all talked about, though, isn't that kind of changing it? Maybe, especially for the refis, I guess everybody's probably going online. But I mean, when you talk about relationships, isn't that kind of, separating it a little bit more? Not seeing them in person?
It is. Well, instead of going to the bar now, we go to the golf course where you can be outdoors. So, things, you just find ways. You find ways to entertain. You find ways to get groups together. And obviously you're social distancing and doing what it is you're supposed to be doing. But it's still not holding back the gathering in small groups and still networking with your peers, the people that are, all your referral partners.
Well, and Gary, you built your business a little bit differently. How do you see it evolving for you?
Tremendously. I mean, when I first got in the business, I was the guy that, like Jeb said, like you have a beat. And you go around and you got to go visit all the offices. You got to drop off rate sheets, and you've got to connect with the realtors that are in that office in order to get them to like you. Well, you can't do that anymore, right? You can't go into real estate offices. Number one, no realtors are there. Number two, COVID's going on, so you're not supposed to be there. So now you have to find out where they are. So if you're brand new in the business today, like I'm fortunate, I have 15 years of a book of business that I can rely on and continue to grow. But if you're brand new in the business today, you've got to find out where the realtors are, social media, right? And find a way to connect with them so that they see who you are, understand what kind of person you are, and then ask them for business. And like I said, it's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Some will send you business, some never will. Some are on the fence. They're going to see a good video, and then maybe they'll refer you.
Yeah, and Katie, you're in you shifted into evolving part of the real estate world with the mortgage business. How do you see it from your perspective? Where is it going for you?
Yeah, I mean, I did work for an independent company for a long time, and then I went to Redfin. So we're connected to Redfin, which is a real estate company. So we do build our relationships through their agents, and we have, more opportunities. We do a lot through Zoom, through meetings, so I mean, I do see that that's an evolving business. I mean, a lot of companies are partnering with mortgage companies to have that relationship. And I think that is going to be part of the future.
But it's much more entirely online kind of connections right from the beginning, right?
Yeah, there's more leads driven through the Redfin website. I mean, there's a lot of it's marketing coming through there just based on the website. So yeah, a lot of business is driven through online, and that's how relationships, get built.
Very good. So what would we get to this point in this show every week. What would Katie and Gary, what would your pitch be to a kid coming out of high school that is smart, has good people skills, doesn't play video games all day long, can put his phone down, can show up for work on time? What would your pitch be for them to get into your business?
First of all, I'd say that's a bullshit question because that doesn't exist.
Well, I think you're pessimistic. And by the way, the question wasn't to you; it was to Katie and Gary. Okay, I know you have Tourette's.
You're setting her up,
and you burst it out every once in a while. But this is for Katie and Gary.
Setting her up for a fantasy land question.
No, tell me about it. What would your pitch be to get into your business?
I mean, I think the first thing I would say is you have to want to work hard. But if you want to work hard, there's literally endless opportunities for income. You don't have to spend 4 years in college to make the same amount of money that maybe people, it takes them, 30 years to reach what you could probably reach in 10, maybe less, if you're working hard and you have those qualities. But if you're willing to kind of pay your dues in the beginning, work hard, align yourself with some people that you can really learn the right way to do this business. I think you can, if you stick to it and it really fits your personality, that this is a really good career, long-term, you can really build wealth, being in.
That's a good pitch, right?
Great
there.
answer. That's a great answer.
That's a great pitch. Gary, you got anything to add?
I think I might be a mortgage broker. Bubba.
No, hold on.
Can I be your assistant?
Let Gary add his
Can I be
first.
your assistant, Bubs?
Yeah, right. Hey, Dave, I'll tell you this, man. If you run across somebody like that, how about sending them our way and we're making $75,000 the first year?
Is that right?
That's a great. Everyone in the mortgage industry is looking for a junior guy like that. I mean,
It's a unicorn.
we got leads. We got leads funneling out the computer. Don't have time to be connected. And if we can't work them properly, then
Exactly.
it's set up for failure. But I think Katie said it best. I mean, if you got the work ethic and you're coming in fresh, and you're willing to grind it out, work the weekends, work late at night, clear your social calendar and grind it out for a 24-month period, you'll have some success in this business.
So to make it a priority in your life, to make
100%, you got to
so
make
if you're
it
out there, listening right now, some kid out there, put your phone down, put your video controller down, or whatever you're doing. If you're out there listening, or some parent,
and I'll add this too. Back before the COVID deal, this was one of the things that I did years ago. Saturdays and Sundays, open houses used to be a big thing. So we'd go through there and have coffee and donuts, drop off cards, and show up, and just to have a conversation with an agent and just exchange cards. And if you hit 25 houses every single Saturday, and you go back and you hit 10 or 15 on Sunday, you're establishing a database. They will remember you, whether it's you brought a payday, or you brought a Krispy Kreme, or you brought a coffee. Like what Katie said in the beginning, you got to separate yourself from the competition.
Yeah, we're not going to go story time here, but I am going to tell you this. Okay, one of our sales, I haven't, like I said, HVAC business, and I told one of our salespeople one time, I said, if you want to close sales, and we have them come through the internet a lot, the residential ones. If you want to close sales, and you get an internet request for pricing from a homeowner at 8:00 on a Sunday morning, and you call them back at 8:10, you're going to close that sale because nobody else is doing that. That's how you separate your. That's the trick. I mean, it's not hard, right? That's the trick, though. That's how you separate yourself. And they're saying, okay, if this guy would call me back at 8:10 in the morning on a Sunday because I'm down here at my vacation home, and he realizes I'm going to go back to Alexandria, Virginia, or wherever I'm from, but I have a house in Rehoboth Beach, and this guy's made this convenient. I'm buying from him. You know, I'm buying from this guy.
8:00 would be nice. My calls are at 4 a.m. on Saturday. So
yeah, well, you got to be in by that time.
Well, Gary, we didn't quite.
Yeah. Back to Gary.
On your pitch.
Yep.
The pitch on getting in this industry.
Yes.
Yep.
Look, there's no greater industry to help as many people as you possibly can, right? Like we already talked about it in this thing. People buy homes 4 times in their life, maybe, if they're lucky, right? So having the ability to help somebody through that process and educate them is an enormous, feat in itself, right? Like Bubba said, I mean, it's the happiest day of everybody's life when they get that key and you get to take a picture of them opening the door to the home. I mean, that's amazing. But, if you're willing to work hard and you want to have fun and you want to help a lot of people, getting into this business can be very lucrative. And that's the pitch. I mean, it's about having fun and just helping people. Yeah. If you're in it just for yourself, you will have a hard time succeeding. You have to be in it to help other people.
Sounds like the sky's the limit to me.
We always close it out with don't chase money, chase passion. The money will follow.
Chase the passion. I want to take a minute to thank, but all 3 of you. I say both of you. There were all 3 of you. Chuck did a double duty on that one window there, but anyway, I want to thank both parties here that came in tonight. You guys were very informative. I didn't know a lot about the mortgage industry before tonight, and I learned a lot tonight. And I personally want to thank you, and wish you luck going into 2021.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to thank all of you as well. The power couple, Katie and Gary. Thank you so much. And Bubba, great to meet you. And thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. My pleasure.
Hey,
Thank
Bubba, by the way, if I saw you on the street, okay, I got to tell you, you're either an NFL player or you're driving a 359 Pete down the road. I'm not sure what you're doing. You're not a mortgage guy. But you're great. You can tell you have a great passion for what you do.
Absolutely.
So it's for everybody.
Awesome. Well, we're closing out the hour then. Had a great show tonight. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Bubba, Gary, Katie, thanks so much. Dave, I never heard any of those jokes. I get your money. I get your money back, buddy.
You what, man?
You might want to get back to that barber.
Every Tuesday night, I go to sleep thinking about 2 letters, E and S. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'll see everybody next week. We're going to tune out right now. Thanks a lot.
See you, Chuck.
Hi, Dave.